Levy pointed out that we have yet to talk about Red Dead Redemption 2.
Yeah,
which,
no shit, Levy.
It brought to mind this text message exchange that I just had with Cody today. Now, before I go into this, I really want you to understand that I'm one of the people who thinks this is a masterpiece of a video game. So I know how flamed up we get about our video game culture. Like, it makes that was a good movie, that was a bad movie look like a fucking Civil War reenactment compared to Vietnam. Like the way that people are like, you're wrong, it's a bad game. So I feel like the need to disclaim this and go, I'm a fan of the game because I was just doing a bit for myself because Cody sent me a picture of a tweet from a guy that tweeted, gave up on Red Dead Redemption 2 because I couldn't figure out which horse was mine. Fuck this game. So I texted Cody back, all he has to do is whistle and his horse would walk up to him. Fuck that guy.
Yeah, I just learned you can tie someone up and put them on the back of their own horse put them on the back of your horse, then get on their horse and ride their horse and whistle for your horse to follow behind you. And then you can carry a deer on the back of your horse too.
Damn.
Everyone wins. Except for the person tied up.
Wait, is there a button that says whistle? Or
There's a button. It's the up button.
You know the button that says whistle, don't you? Just the button that puts your lips together and the button that blows.
Yeah. That was a nice to have and have not reference.
A reference so old that we get it because if it survived these many sandstorms, we all. No, it's not like okay.
How many buttons we got in this thing? If there's a whistle button
on the controller,
there's a controller. There's like 90 fucking buttons. So Cody made the mistake of typing "ha ha," and so now I got a nickel in me, and I.
Wow, what a provocative asshole she is.
No, that's
so
not.
I texted, the reason he should give up is because it takes 5 attempts to stand in front of a biscuit the way that lets you pick it up.
Yeah.
And she texted, okay, I go back to sleep. Come cuddle soon. Harvey's saving your spot for you, which is her saying, enough. So I I was like, it'd be funny if I kept going. I said, move. He should give up because the missions require you to slaughter entire towns, but if you accidentally press the fart button while you're tipping your hat, your honor goes down and ammunition costs more. He should give up because if you kill a man that tries to kill you and another man sees you do it, you have to run and make the third man pinky swear not to share his experience with his family over dinner, because if you just kill him, the price of bacon goes up, and if you just ignore him, he instantly tells the world you're a murderer, and that means you have to go to the post office. It's true.
Yeah.
These sound like bits.
Yeah.
It's true. I don't know if you can buy bacon in the game. That's the only thing that's not true about
I tried to pick up a dead person's hat, and I put it on, and it was like, this hat will not be saved. This is not your default hat. And I was like, you told me to pick up the hat.
There's almost only one reason he shouldn't give up on Red Dead Redemption 2, and that reason is because you can't find your horse. You can only find your horse in that game. It's a mind-reading homing horse that can teleport to the bottom of cliffs. Here are some things that are harder to find than your horse in Red Dead Redemption 2. Your clothes, your friends, your objectives, a satchel with room for more than 9 things, a way to survive without carrying 9 pieces of food, a bowl of stew, your own left leg while taking a bath, the guy that keeps moaning in the hotel in the town of Valentine, a way to fuck any of the 20 sex workers in the saloon that compulsively ask you if you want some company every time you walk by them, interactions with random men that don't force you to choose between beating the fuck out of them or walking away while they call you a pussy, treasure maps that function more like maps than Pictionary with an autistic child, a way to win a gunfight with more than 2 men that doesn't involve running away and sneaking back 7 times. Any recourse whatsoever to role-playing as anything other than a sad, drunk, confused, psychotic, wobbling through mud, slurring at everyone, or hiding in the wilderness, mutilating animals in the pathetic hope that if you cut enough skin off enough deer, you might be able to pick up enough motor function to walk from one end of a room to the other without accidentally dying or killing. Well, now I want to go home and play some more because I just remembered how awesome this game is.
It's good.
Ha, 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 ha. Okay, come home now, please. I got to work more, sorry. I had to work more.
Damn.
Did you?
Well, not as hard as I did on that.
I had one of the last things I did, because the game like kind of puts these like random events in front of you, and so it's these two lawmen are pulling a wagon with a prisoner, and just between you and me, the prisoner is like an older black woman, and she's saying like, I didn't do it, I didn't do anything, I'm innocent, and so I'm like, well, the game is telling me I got to save this lady, and so I sneak up on them and I shoot them both in the head, and I'm trying to hide the bodies because I don't want to go get in trouble. And so then another cop comes and I shoot him, and then I'm like, well, I'm just gonna let this lady out and run away. And then three more cops come and I get a big firefight and I kill like 4 horses on accident. It's a whole nightmare. I have like a $40 bounty on my head, and then I finally let the old lady out, and she's like, thank you so much. By the way, Sonny, there's this old turnip farm down south that you can rob. And I was like, what the fuck?
There's all these missions are just like, here's a home robbery opportunity.
Yeah.
Like it's weird. You know what? It's weird because I was never confused in a Grand Theft Auto game.
No,
because
everyone sucks.
Right, and that was arguably, it's hard culturally, let alone with gaming as the fucking epicenter of this like crazy cultural like fucking teacup ride that we've been on. But obviously, like Rockstar Games in Grand Theft Auto was like this thing where it was like, hey, right, it's gaming, it's its own medium. Not only are we not accountable to standards and practices, we're not accountable to like any like constructs of morality
right,
that even the individual human might have, which, I understand why people would get alarmed of that later being encroached upon. I don't know how much thought the people that get mad put into it, but I do remember going, boy, this is really actually very valuable latitude to have in a medium in a world where we're such a successful first world empire that our television shows, even though they've progressed from someone's got to keep their foot on the floor, or if they're in the bedroom together, to being able to look at two people wearing pajamas in a bed next to each other. We're in danger of stagnation when we get successful and our media becomes another product like eggs on a shelf that's like so safe and so policed that it's like you get conditioned to react to restrictive thought, right, or anomalous thought with pulling back, and that's all. So I remember playing Grand Theft Auto 3 and being like, this is valuable. It's cynical. It's awful. It's so cynical.
Right.
But it's so. It's valuable that it's expansive and while being so fucking poisonous, and it's equally poisonous to absolutely everything about society.
Right, exactly.
Within it. And
it's consistent.
And it was just sort of like, it was that whole like freedom of speech is way more fucking important than anything, because through that, if you lose that, you're certainly fucked, no matter how good you think you are as a society. And I mean, that's so long ago now, and it's weird to think of it as long ago because that game was so relatively, like, I just still think of it as like a recent accomplishment, that this Grand Theft Auto 3 represented this like gigantic kind of leap forward in sandbox open world gaming.
Yeah.
And it's so anyways, but and then I don't even want to comment because it's such a minefield of like how then we keep making Grand Theft Auto games and like even better ones through an era where like, this Gamergate shit starts happening and people are having these conversations about what cultures are we promoting and why are you mad? Why are you mad? Why are you mad? What are you trying to protect? I'm not trying to protect anything. Why are you trying to attack it? I didn't attack anything. Why are you trying to keep everything the same? I'm not trying to keep shit the same. I want everything, but she's a slut. But it's amazing to me that it's like they had the Old West version of Grand Theft Auto, Red Dead Redemption,
right,
and then this is 7 years in the making, the sequel to that game, and it's just so it's interesting to look at the tightrope that they're walking.
The complete difference in like morals,
but I think it's a little confusing because I think
it's very confusing.
I wouldn't want them to.
You know what the most moral thing you can do in Red Dead Redemption is? Shooting people in the foot and then tying them up and leaving them in the bushes. That's completely legal. No one will ever follow you for doing that.
What is the comeuppance? Like if you get caught by the police?
Oh, you have to pay $40 to the post office.
You go to the post office and you pay your thing. In Grand Theft Auto, it's not confusing.
$40 is a lot of money, Jeff. It's not fucking 2018.
In Grand Theft Auto, you're always in a car. You do something wrong, you get wanted stars, and the fun of it is if you got one goal, like a little kid playing tag or something. You have these paint shops around town. It's basically one of only a few ways that you can. If you can during a high-speed chase, even if it keeps increasing in stars. So the more stars you're wanted, the more levels of law enforcement come out. So eventually it's helicopters and SWAT teams and tanks and the National Guard comes to get you. And at any point you can just pull into a spray shop and have your car instantly spray painted. And when you pull out, as long as you don't bump anybody on the backing out, you're free again. They can't find you. Your car is a different color. Now, obviously that's ridiculous. However, if you look at it from a gaming mechanic standpoint, it's actually hard to emulate that in the Old West under any circumstances.
Yeah, you can't just go get your horse painted.
You can't get your horse painted, and it somehow works a little better. But my point, I don't think it's really an internal logic issue. I think it's that, look,
I think it's a game design issue.
I mean, I think it's like they're great at making these games. I think that part of them being great at making games is that they have this sort of almost, it's ingrained in there, because I see the same names in the credits. It's not like a new generation of people taking over and a brand. You see the same names of designers and stuff, and it's like, I think that it probably goes hand in hand, being able to make such a crazy open world sandbox game and having a mind that's probably pretty allergic to the concept of putting things on rails, especially morally. However, you got to admit that Red Dead Redemption 2 certainly, in a game set in the Old West with multiracial characters and a bunch of women in it, there's a notable absence of the degrees of depth in the moral sense that the game goes to compared to, like, I can't name examples offhand, but you just kind of sense it. You're like, well,
it kind of just tries to slam in your face that, like, no matter what you are, you're kind of the bad guys, and I don't know. But maybe that's the point of it.
And to me, I keep getting confused, I think, because of that. I think it's because there's like it's like, oh, if I could just get it through my head that it's Grand Theft Auto on a fucking horse and stop, but I keep being told by the game that
it's horrible when you do bad things, though. Unlike in Grand Theft Auto, it feels very empty. But at this, it's like, I don't know. Someone's like, "How you doing?" And then you like step on her foot in the horse, and she's like, "Ah!" And it just like it's like, oh no, I gotta reload my save. Like, it feels horrible to do anything wrong in this game. Where in Grand Theft Auto, it's kind of like, haha.
Also, the sophistication the mechanics are like, it's a great thing. You can like walk and you pull the left trigger when you see somebody, and context menu comes up, so you can kind of experience these things of like, you walk by, they say random things, and you got your binary option of, or I guess triple option, because you can diffuse, antagonize, or greet. But the upshot is that you can walk in real time and almost kind of like marionette a real person in terms of like verbal encounters with strangers. If that's your jam, if what you want is immersiveness, so you experience walking and just howdy, hey, fuck yourself, hey, you don't gotta be like that. Keep walking, like you're kind of like, all of these things are not like, time's not stopping, and you don't have to like load this and do that, and that's really cool. But the downside of that is, if you're really immersed in this world, you're walking around and people are constantly saying, I don't like the looks in your face. And I'm like...
all you can do is tie them up and toss them in a bush.
It's like from a gaming perspective that there's no profit in stopping and doing anything with this person. But it's like so immersive now that I'm like, I'm the guy that it took so long to go bisexual in Fallout. It's like... because I just like, I have this like, I'm like, it's part of my, I think my clinical narcissism is that you can really get me into a game and tell me that, that's me, and then I'll take that really seriously.
You can't be bisexual in Red Dead?
I don't know.
You can't even have sex with the sex workers there.
Yeah, he doesn't seem to be into women for whatever reason.
One thing that I was confused by, you said one of the hard things to do in Red Dead Redemption 2 is you can't find your left leg in a bathtub. What does that mean?
Yeah, that's a real thing. You take a bath.
Sometimes you have to pay 50 cents to do that.
If you go and take a bath, then after you finish washing your head, there's a knock on the door, and a woman says, "Would you like some help in there?" And if you pay 50 cents, a woman will come in, and this goes to this kind of labyrinth thing. There's no game to it, right? Is there?
No,
anything?
you just press any number of buttons that you want.
Just indicating what part of your body you want washed, and then there's an option to make small talk while you're doing it, and she responds with algorithmically, and I was like, oh, it's eventually you're gonna unlock a hand job or something.
That's what it leads you to believe, but I don't know. After the first one, I was like, this just seems like a red herring to me.
It's really weird. But then again, that's what I mean. Grand Theft Auto was kind of they let it leak that there was a way to get a sex worker into your car.
Oh, that's different. I was thinking the hot coffee.
It wasn't like an
mod.
automatic thing. Anyways.
But there's no funny business, no sex happening in the game?
Not unless you assume something's happening under the water that is both instantaneous and that he has a poker face about it because he's a cowboy and he doesn't want to.
But in a lot of the interactions, it sets up that he's kind of just not interested in anyone who expresses interest.
Let's spread a rumor that he's gay.
Well, I mean, yeah, who knows? He might be, but he certainly doesn't seem into it. He pisses people off.
He's an asexual cowboy.
It's great.
That would be a huge advantage in the Old West, I think, to be asexual.
That's true. Because he's always having to go after like women and haul them into prison and stuff. You can't be seducted or,
I have
suspecting.
asexual questions. Is anybody openly asexual? Also, is that a thing? Or is
it's a thing?
Yeah. Are you? I'm not even going to make eye contact because I don't want to put you on the spot if you don't want to be put on the spot. Are you self-applying that phrase? Oh, okay.
Me neither, by the way.
But yeah, if anybody's like confidently like, yeah, I'm asexual. That's what I identify as. I'd love to have a conversation with you if you don't mind being.
Especially if you're also a cowboy.
Some naive. That would be great. That would be. But I would consider
if we
that
get a fucking asexual cowboy up on stage, it's going to be podcast dynamite. We have a cowboy.
I bet if you really follow the code of what we understand to be the true cowboy, you would be asexual, wouldn't you?
Well, yeah.
Bi? Why bi? Okay.
True cowboys have sex with land ginnies.
You
That's
just
like
want bisexuality to get
reference.
signal boosted in any context. You're like that guy at every protest that has the legalized weed.
I think like a lot of cowboys because they always leave at the end. Like Shane or like Clint Eastwood, they ride off into the sunset. They're like bye sexual. Like bye.
Yeah.
Thank you.
It is kind of defined, at least in the silver screen terms, as like one of the major foundations is for sure, unless you're a bad guy, you don't cross boundaries with an unwilling filly. Like you're certainly not maybe regarding women as equals in a society governed by reason, but that's a lot of that's not your fault as a cowboy. You're just a cowboy, but you definitely are. You're not. You're never gonna. You wouldn't be a good cowboy if you took liberties.
Right.
What'd you say? Waterworld? Waterworld, by contrast, even in childhood, women are nothing more than maps to dry land. Something to draw upon.
But there isn't a lot of westerns because there were small casts, small sets, and usually not a lot of women characters because for a lot of reasons. But one that actresses were expensive, like to get a big star like Hollywood starlet in the thing. That in the same way, kind of like in Die Hard, there's often scenes in westerns where the bad guy and the good guy meet, and it's almost flirtatious. It's kind of like this,
right?
Where there's kind of a sexual vibe to it, like. in Shane with Jack Palance, when he sees Alan Ladd, like he kind of checks him out, and it's kind of like it's almost a little like sexy.
Well, definitely. Yeah, I mean, they certainly land that in Westworld with Yul Brynner and what's his name? I mean, it's like even though he's a robot pretending to be a bad guy, cowboy,
Richard Benjamin,
very sexual.
It's one actor with no eyebrows, another actor who's just 90% eyebrows. Why don't you go home to your mama? That movie sucks. It starts off great. It starts off so good. And why are we in Rome now? Like they go to like it's just.
I just love the idea that remember in that movie the way that you can tell these robots that you can have sex with that look like. So, well, look at their hands though. They can't. Science can't recreate the palm.
Their fingertips are all weird.
That's how we felt in the 70s. We felt like, well, we're gonna get there. You know, did you see these Halloween masks this year? They're pretty, but that guy looks a lot like Nixon. And we just kind of, I think we thought but you know, that hand. We were all intelligent design people. We were like, how do you ever make a fake hand? It's a robot. It's gonna have claws.
We can make a guy look just like Yul Brynner. I rewatched that with Church, and that. Oof.